everyone, my name is Chelsea and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, we're getting a little wicked. So this week, we are doing a reading vlog all dedicated to Wizard of Oz adjacent books. Basically, Wicked for Good Part 2 comes out this week, like Thursday or Friday. We're gonna go see it on Sunday. But something that I did last year is I reread, because I've read it before, Wicked, and then I also read the first book in the Wizard of Oz, like the Wizard of Oz. I have like the whole series and things like that. And I was like, you know what? I want to try this again, but with other Wizard of Oz related books. So today is Monday, and we're gonna be starting today, going through Wizard of Oz type books. I have a couple already ready to go, and so that's sort of like what the plan is. I have, I think, 2 books that I've picked up during Stuff Your Kindle events, so I'm very excited to try those out. One of them is Tin by Amber R. Duell and Candace Robinson. This is the first book in the Fairies of Oz. I'm pretty sure it's going to be some sort of fantasy romance type of thing because I got these during Stuff Your Kindle, and that usually means they have a romance focus. Don't know anything else about it. The other one I have is Into a Wicked World by Jordan Riley Swan. Again, something else that I picked up during a Stuff Your Kindle type of thing. Should also have some romance in there, which I'm excited for. I am doing another readathon thing right now, and I haven't been able to fit any sort of romance things in there, so I do feel like these are gonna be like the perfect vibe for me right now. And then I also have an audiobook that I got from my library. So this one is Toto by A.J. Hackworth. This is going to be like Wizard of Oz through Toto. He's gonna be our main character from what I'm aware of, and I just think that is super intriguing. I don't know anything else about it, but the tagline on the front of the book says, "Good dogs stay in Kansas, bad dogs go to Oz." I just think that's gonna be hilarious. I have one other one in the back of my mind if I need more stuff, but like I said, I'm in the middle of doing another readathon as well, so I really think those 3 are probably going to be the main things that I'm going to be focusing on this week. We will probably also rewatch Wicked Part 1, maybe like Saturday before we go to see the movie on Sunday. And I have some Legos here. That I did get this like when it first came out. This has been out for a couple months now, and I have not put it together. I actually have a couple Lego sets besides this one that I have purchased for myself because Presley's been really into Lego, and I was like, I want to do that. I think it'd be perfect to do when I'm doing audiobooks and stuff. So I have not done them yet because these kids, trying to figure out when to do this kind of stuff with them is a hard task. But I think what I'm going to be trying to do is use this as my audiobook time as well. So maybe like tonight after the kids go to bed, we'll pull this out. And so that way I have some extra time that I'm dedicating towards building this, because this is Wicked bookends. They're Lego bookends. Like, it fits everything perfectly together that way. I'm very excited. But then maybe I can also start Toto, because I have actually had that one requested from the library since like last November. After I watched Wicked, I saw that this was like a new release last year, and I was like, oh my gosh, that sounds very intriguing. I want to try it out. And then I didn't, because it took a little while to get the audiobook for me. And then it got to a point where I just was reading a bunch of other things. And then it got to a point where I was like, you know what? I was pre-planning this video, and I knew I was gonna want to do more Wizard of Oz / Wicked themed books. So that'd be perfect. So I just decided to hold off on it until this month. So now I have it. Very excited. So that is our update for now, because actually I'm gonna go read some more for the other readathon that I'm doing right now, so that hopefully tonight after the kids go to bed, I'll be ready and raring to go on this and my first book. Okay, we'll see how this situation works. I know we're a little bit low here because I want you guys to be able to see a little bit of what we're doing. This table I bought specifically to have a place to do my Lego, and not like Presley's, who usually does his like at like the dining table and then puts his stuff in his room. I have not used this, and as you can see, it's covered in crayon and marker. So obviously my kids got a hold of it before I did. But I was thinking, in case I don't finish stuff like in one night, which I probably won't, I have a place to put it that's not the dining room table downstairs. So yeah, we're gonna be opening this up. I'm gonna be listening to Toto by A.J. Hackwith. I have not started it yet. I have not started any of my reading yet. It's Tuesday night. I was too tired last night. The kids did not want to go to bed when they should have. So we are starting a little bit later than I was hoping for, but like not too bad. It's only Tuesday. We have some time to get this done. So yeah. 12 bags maybe? Stickers. 2 books. Which might be Glinda and Elphaba. I will definitely show you guys this. And then we will talk about where I got to in my book as well. So we are officially, I guess, halfway done. Took me a little over an hour, so that's actually not too bad. And they're a very adorable bookends. Okay, let me get you guys closer. Okay, I just moved you guys closer, but so we are officially done with the first bookend. I love that this really looks like books and that it has like the gold detailing. I've never personally seen gold Lego, and it's so cool. We do have like the stickers that make it look more like books there as well. It's just really cute. Glinda sits in here. This half of the set also came with Fanny and Madame Morrible. And I think you can actually like take off this last book that we did, and I think they go in there if you want them to be put somewhere. But yeah, so I think very, very cute. I love that we have like the clock and everything. Like this is a nice heft to it. They also do have little rubber stoppers on the bottom, which obviously helps it stay where it needs to be. So we will come back and do the other part tomorrow, maybe. Depends again on like how quickly the kids go to bed and whatnot. But yeah, so I have listened to, obviously, a little over an hour of Toto by A.J. Hackwith. This is all in Toto's voice, obviously. And because of how long I've listened to it so far, I am about 22% in. I did borrow this from my library. And this is one of those books that I don't think if I was reading it for myself, like if I was reading a physical book, if I was not doing something else with it, I don't think this would necessarily be my thing. They have a lot of adjectives and description and things like that. And Toto is very much about like, we're not in Kansas anymore, I'm gonna be a bad dog. Like he just keeps saying that, like, what should I do if I'm gonna be a bad dog? Like it's just like, it's an interesting choice. I do like the idea of him as the main character because we do get to sort of see some of the events that happen in The Wizard of Oz from his perspective. I will say the story that's happening right now does follow a sort of predictable way that they're doing it, obviously, but it is a little bit darker in a way because when they meet the Scarecrow, according to Toto, he's actually a hangman, not just a scarecrow. Like he is a scarecrow, but there's darker stuff going on with it. Also, just like a few different like things that are changed that I don't think are really impacting the plot, but like all four witches, including Glinda and the Wicked Witch of the West, obviously not exactly Elphaba, obviously, but like they're all related. They're all sisters. So it's not just like the East and the West and then like North and South, or, you know, however you want to do it. Like they're all related. There's also some other characters that have been introduced that we've never seen before. There is a crow that, you know, talks to Toto and stuff. And then we also have now been introduced, like we've gone through like the Scarecrow and the Tin Man part, basically. We've been introduced to a Munchkin girl who is sort of a warrior soldier type of thing. And we've not seen her too much, but like obviously she's new. I like the idea of having more female characters. And so it's just intriguing that way, although I don't think the writing style is necessarily like 100% my thing, because like I said, Toto keeps saying the same stuff over and over. He apparently can talk to people that are in Oz, because not only do like Crow understands him, but like the Scarecrow understands him, and it sounds like this Munchkin girl also understands him, but Dorothy still doesn't. So I don't know, I don't know if Dorothy can understand Crow as well or not, because like obviously we know from people that have seen Wizard of Oz, like the lion can talk, or like if you've seen Wicked and things like that, animals have the ability to talk in Oz. Not all of them if you've read the Wicked book, just, you know, some of them, but he apparently can talk to people in Oz, but Dorothy can't hear him. So we'll see how much that goes in, how much he actually gets to be like his own character. Because like obviously this sort of story is Dorothy and him being taken on this adventure. Like they don't have as much choices to make. So we'll see. I mean, it's not bad. Obviously, we're going to come back and do more Lego and stuff later, and I will listen to this more. It's just not necessarily something that I would pick up and be focused on completely. Like, this is not something that I would pick up and be like, I have to read my book and I don't want any distractions. Like, I'm glad that I decided to listen to this while I did something. So that's where we're at right now. It is just about 11 o'clock, so even though I probably could technically do more Lego tonight, I shouldn't. I should definitely get ready to go to bed, because like I said, it's Tuesday. We'll have to take Presley to school and stuff tomorrow, and so, yeah, I guess I'll come back to you guys tomorrow. Okay, we are back for night 2. Did not do any other reading today except for finishing some of my stuff for my other vlog, which is great because now we can focus on this. I'm more excited to get into the Legos than I am to get into my book, but we're gonna do it. bring you guys a little bit closer. So we obviously have 3 characters for this side as well. Elphaba, the wizard, Fiyero. And here is what it looks like. We have a W for Wicked, we have the green potion bottle, we have the little train, but like clockwork, which is cute, and a flower. And then on the back, obviously, we have this. And I think this is where she is supposed to stand, sort of like how Glinda was standing in hers. There we go. So she goes in here. And then obviously, if you want to put the characters away, the other ones, they actually go in the book here, which is so cool. And so this is 1 and 2. I really like how they look like books and stuff, but like the size is different. I like the difference in like we have like the gold pieces on the spines, and then also if you look into all these different books, like the tile pieces they gave us look like pages for all the books. Like it's just so cool. So that is it for those. I am now another about an hour and 15 minutes into Toto. That's how much we read today. So I'm at 46%. And yeah, if this wasn't on audio, if it wasn't something that I was doing while I was doing this, I would DNF it. Let me see on my Bookly app how many more hours it would take me to finish this book. 2 hours and 48 minutes more. I do have some chore and things that I can do this week to potentially listen to more of it. But yeah, I'm just... The way it's written, like, again, it's supposed to be sort of funny because Toto is the main character. He is very sarcastic, very wants to much be like the bad dog. And he, again, is saying it way too much. But at the same time, there's certain things that pop up. So this is obviously supposed to be more present day because he does mention, I can't remember what he calls it, but it's basically like Dorothy's phone. He mentions that she has like a device, a pocket device or something like that, where she looks things up sometimes. Like she'll look things up on her phone. Like it's more modern day. And so because of that, there was this whole thing where he got separated from her and he's with this crow person and he meets the Cowardly Lion completely different from Dorothy, like at a completely different time in a very weird, let's overthrow the government type of situation. Like, it's just like, what was the choice of that? But like every so often the way it's written, I mean, not every so often, I hate the way it's written. But every so often he'll say something. So like at one point somebody said, oh, you know, my comrades. And he's like, I wondered, do people in Oz actually have Russian literature here? And I'm just like, what the fuck are we talking about right now? So like, it's trying too hard. It's the same sort of thing with, they talk about misogyny and like other things, like things that are just like, it feels like, would a dog actually know about stuff? And it's thrown in there in a way that I just don't feel like it connects very well. Like it's a lot of buzzwords. And yeah, we are officially at 46% going to see the wizard. They basically got to like the Emerald City and they're going to see the wizard. We have not gotten to the wizard part yet. So like I understand how we're about halfway, like if you're thinking about like the movie, not Wicked, but like the Wizard of Oz, that kind of thing. But yeah, there's differences, and I don't mind the addition of some other characters and things like that, but I definitely think the writing style is not my thing, and some of the choices that are made for the buzzwords that they have in here, not so much. So like I said, if it wasn't for this kind of stuff, I would DNF this. Now I have a couple other books that I want to read, so we'll see how this goes as an audio. This is the only one I could get on audio. Everything else is like ebooks and things like that. So we'll keep doing it. But as of right now, I don't think this is going to be very highly rated. Hello, everyone. It is Thursday night. I have not come back and like actually talk to you guys. I have done some reading today. I've also been doing lots of thinking as well. So obviously the last time that I left you guys, I was in the middle of Toto by A.J. Hackwith, and I have read more. I listened to like another 35-40 minutes earlier today while I was cooking dinner, and I was sort of talking to my husband about it a little bit, and was just sort of like, if I wasn't doing this for a vlog, especially that one where I'm now out of Lego, I have completed it, I don't think I'm enjoying myself enough to push through. Like, this is something that I've told you guys, if I had picked it up as a physical book, I would not continue it. And so I think I'm gonna DNF. Yeah, I'm gonna DNF. It's just one of those things where it's just darker than I wanted. It's supposed to be more modern day, but at the same time, I don't know, the writing style, the way that Toto is talking about all this kind of stuff, we're now in this very like, they met the wizard. I got to a point where they met the wizard. And the way that he was talking about like the scarecrow wanting a brain and the Tin Man wanting a heart and like the lion with courage and things like that, he was very, I don't know, he felt very like MAGA in a way, like very conservative, very like one of the things that he was mentioning was, I think for the Tin Man guy that we have in this story, was that he doesn't necessarily need a heart, he needs to be a man, so it's like a specific kind of heart. Like, it was just like the way that, I don't know, the commentary, and I understand what the author is trying to do, but at the same time it's too much. Like, Toto has definitely brought up certain things like misogyny and things like that. You know, it's just like they're trying too hard, and the way that it's written as well is just not my thing. And because we have too many things that are a little bit different, and changing it, I don't really care. Like, I wish it was either a little bit closer to the actual Wizard of Oz, which is what this is trying to be based on, or even further away, so that it was like inspired by the Wizard of Oz versus like trying to be Toto from the Wizard of Oz. I don't know. We're DNFing. I'm done. So I also read some of Tin by Amber R. Duell and Candace Robinson. I'm actually 34% of the way into this one. I read for almost 2 hours in this book today, and I'm also DNFing this one. This is a book that I picked up during a Stuff Your Kindle day. It is supposed to be fantasy romance. It's a little bit darker. This one is more like Wizard of Oz happened, and this is now like 10 years later, at least in Dorothy's timeline, and we're following a dual perspective of Dorothy, who Aunt Em and Uncle Henry are dead now, and she is the only one left on the farm. She does not have enough money for the farm. It's pretty much going to be bought out from under her, and she has been told her like whole life ever since Oz happened that she's crazy, and nobody believes her. And so she's like very, almost like down on her luck. She's like 21, I think I want to say. They said this is 10 years later, and I think when they mentioned before when she went in the first time, she was like 11. So she's like 21, and she sees like a green light portal thing and gets sort of taken back in there. And then we're also following Tin, who is the Tin Man, who they haven't really specified timeline for him necessarily, but again, in the future. And his heart has turned to stone again. Apparently it was stone before. Oz helped take it, you know, back, made it like a real heart, and then now it is stone again. And he is more of like an assassin because of that. This is the Fairies of Oz series, so we do have like the Oz sort of setting, but they're also fairies. And so this one, they mention characters. Like we've heard of the lion, we've heard of Glinda, we've heard of some stuff, but the only real characters that we've really seen so far are him and her. And he is actually tasked with bringing her somewhere because somebody wants her head. So like, obviously this is almost going to be like a forbidden enemies to lovers type of romance type of thing. My biggest issue with this, that I'm almost 2 hours into the book, over a third of the way done now, or, you know, just about a third of the way done. It's very much telling, not showing. So I'm not seeing any sort of backstory, really. They just told us that this has happened in the past. Dorothy has been from Oz and things like that. He did know her. But we're not really seeing that development. And so I'm just, again, like, okay, fine. But this is another one that is trying a little bit too hard to be very, very dark. So we've been to a brothel. Why? Who knows? Like, and we know he's an assassin, so we have seen him kill some people. But like, because we're not really getting to see a lot of it, like it really is just being like telling us about what has happened before. I don't really feel as much investment as I should. But then also for a character who is supposed to have a very like stone heart, he like, I want the development of the relationship. Like I want the feelings and things like that. And instead of somehow getting into situations where they could potentially have feelings and like have this thing progress as an actual romance, he just keeps constantly talking about sexy, lusty feelings. And they've mentioned like boobs and like erections and things like just too much for my liking. And again, like I said, we also went to a brothel because he was going to go there to relieve himself, to not think about Dorothy, but at the same time, he doesn't have a heart. And so like, it's all literally just all lusty body feelings. And I'm just not in the mood for that. Like, that's not what I was here for. I'm sure some people enjoy this. But I think I'm DNFing it again because this is not what I was wanting. Again, I do think this one had a slightly more Oz adjacent type of feeling in the fact that like technically Oz already happened, but they're still not giving me enough of it. They're just hoping that you know sort of what happened before and are taking that. But like, this is your Oz world, the authors. You could have changed stuff. So I did want to still have the experience of like knowing exactly what happened before, or like how they feel about things that are happening now versus then and things like that. And I just don't feel like we're getting that enough. We're not getting that amount of stuff enough. Like I need more from it. So I'm gonna DNF that one too. I did not think I was gonna DNF anything for this video, and yet. So the last one that I technically have like ready to go is Into a Wicked World by Jordan Riley Swan. So I think that's the one I'm going to be focusing on next. So the thing about this book, I got this during another, I think, Stuff Your Kindle or Stuff Your Kindle fantasy, like adjacent type of thing. It is supposed to be a wholesome romance in Oz. That is the title of this series on Goodreads. The title of the series on like Storygraph is just A Romance in Oz, but they are sort of billing it as that. So I can take or leave having sexy times in books. I really do want the romance to be the main focus, whether there is steam or not. So I'm curious to see how this is going to be, because like again, it sort of is actually a pet peeve of mine for people to have those like wholesome, or even like the people that do clean still. Like I hate having all those words in your titles of series, or even like some people have it like their subtitles of books. That's just a pet peeve of mine. But I'm curious about this because this is going to be Dorothy as like a college age student, I want to say, who mystically gets transported to the land of Oz, and the Kansas college student must navigate the dangers of angry trees, poisonous poppies, etc. So to me, this feels like this is going to be closer to Wizard of Oz, but aged up. So I'm very, very curious about that. It does look like this one is potentially also going to be the Tin Man as the love interest. We'll have to see. But again, I'm curious. I think that, like, that's what I'm sort of wanting. And I did not get it from Tin in my perspective. I did not want that. Other people might. So this is what we're going to be trying next. Into a Wicked World. Hopefully it gives me what I want. So I'm currently painting nails, and I'm gonna be doing a gradient soon, so I got like the liquid latex stuff on here. But before I started doing this, today is Saturday. It is like Saturday at 5 p.m.-ish now. We're supposed to watch the Wicked movie today, but people have been busy, so we have not done it yet, like the first movie, part one. I did start reading Into a Wicked World by Jordan Riley Swan. That's Elliot's hand there. She also, turn your hand around so you can see your nails. Turn it around the other way. I painted her nails too. I did start the book, and I'm intrigued to continue. I'm about 23% in now, and I'm intrigued to continue. Basically, we have two different perspectives. We have Dorothy and we have Nick. The book starts at the very beginning with Nick, who is Nick Chopper. He's going to be the Tin Man. So we basically start about 8 years before the events of when the book is going to take place. We have Nick and the Wicked Witch of the West, which I can't remember her name, starts with like a Z. And they're like 16. She's very into him. He is not into her. He's into somebody else, and she does not like that fact. So she does end up cursing him to always feel emotion. He will feel emotion, but if he shows emotion, then he will turn more into tin and stuff. And we also have this similar thing with curses for her. The more wicked she is, the more green she is. Like, she didn't start off green, which I think is very interesting. And so I've read 23% of the way. And so we've also gotten into the Dorothy things, and we're going back and forth with the different perspectives. She is more modern day. So it is like she mentioned a phone and things like that, but she's also like 24. The 16-year-old stuff took place about 8 years ago, and I think they're all like about 24 because they definitely mention that she's 24. She's like going to college in Wichita and stuff like that. But besides that, she does, land in Oz in a very similar sort of way with a tornado and things like that. I'm very curious to see where this will go. I will say the writing style right now has too many hyphens. Like, there are a lot of hyphenated descriptive words. And when I say there's too many, I have noticed a ton in some of the chapters where like I'm reading on my phone on my Kindle app. And so it's a small screen and I have the text size bumped up quite a bit. And I will still have multiple hyphenated descriptive words per page. It is just so much that I'm like, that is a little bit overwritten. But besides that, I'm curious about how everything is going to go because of the difference in nature of the curses and stuff. So like I said, gonna be doing more nails. Gonna be reading more as well, obviously, but we also have movie night planned. So, yeah. Wicked. Okay, so it is Sunday. We have already gone and seen Wicked for Good. It was very, very good. I cried a few different times. My mom at the end of it was basically like, how did you not tell me that I was gonna cry for like the last half of the movie? And I was like, well, I didn't like fully know how everybody else would handle it and stuff like that, but like I think it was the singing and stuff was just like phenomenal. I had chills multiple times. It was very, very well done. Like, super pleased and happy with that. We had lunch afterwards, and like while we went to the movie, it was just like me, my mom, my sister. The kids got to go to Barnes & Noble and they picked out Legos, and they also went to a play place with Daddy and Grandpa, so they also had fun. But now, yeah, we're home. I mean, if you know Wicked or like the stage musical and stuff, I feel like they really delved into some of the stuff that you don't get to see as much. Like, it was just really, really well done. The songs were really, really well done. Like, I just keep saying that, but like, obviously everybody changes it a little bit and makes it their own, but like the singing was just phenomenal. Like, it was so good. So I'm already like, I already want to go see it again. But I do need to read more of Into a Wicked World, which I'm curious to see how it'll go. Like I said before, I'm also just like very intrigued by the fact that a lot of the romance ones that I've seen so far obviously have the Tin Man as the romance, which is just, a choice because they have many people that it could be if we're going to be going that way, but both of them that I've been trying to read have the Tin Man. So, yeah, we're going to see how that goes. It's Sunday. We're going to chill a little bit. I have some editing and things to do that I need to do before Tuesday, so today or tomorrow, but we're going to sit, we're going to read a little bit. Okay, it is Monday afternoon. We are going to pick up Presley from school. I have about an hour left of Into a Wicked World. I'm definitely gonna finish it today. I really wanted to finish it yesterday before or after the movie, but the movie was early, so like I would have really had to finish it like Saturday night. Did not happen. But I am still very curious to see where it's gonna go. And so I definitely just need to spend more time doing that. So I was already putting in some of my books from the Clear Your Shit Readathon stuff that I'm doing, as well as this one, into like my spreadsheet trackers. And I always track like different representation in books as well as representation for authors. And one thing that I didn't know, but the one that I'm currently reading, Into a Wicked World by Jordan Riley Swan, he's a guy. I did not think that this was a guy writing a book. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but like you go into it thinking Wizard of Oz romance sort of thing, and you just assume woman. I should not assume, obviously, but it makes me curious about other things. This is actually the first book in a series about Oz, different romances, and it looks like he has other things for different romances as well. Like, it's just, he writes romances. But yeah, just a very interesting tidbit. Like I said, I have about an hour left. We're picking Presley up, and then we're gonna finish this book. Okay. It's Tuesday. I did finish my book last night, but I also just wanted to say, we'll talk about it. I have had Wicked songs, like first half and second half, Act 1 and Act 2, stuck in my head since we watched Wicked Part 1 on Saturday. I know pretty much all the lyrics to all of them, obviously, and yet I keep cycling through a bunch of songs. It's just that good. It was really, really good. I really do want to see Wicked for good again. I don't know if I'm going to be able to see it in the theater again. We're actually going to take the kids to see Zootopia 2 this weekend, because they haven't seen a movie in a theater in a while. But yeah, I'm just like, I'm obsessed. So I did finish Into a Wicked World by Jordan Riley Swan last night. I finished it like right after dinner, and I just didn't have a chance to talk to you guys. I think I'm gonna give it 3.5. Some of the stuff about the writing style, especially the excessive hyphenated words, it still kept up. There were parts where it didn't have like any, and then it would seem like the author would get into a rut of like trying to over describe things, and apparently he loves hyphenated words. There was tons of them, like 3-piece, like just like so many things that were hyphenated. And the thing is, if I try and look up a hyphen in like my Kindle, it doesn't just pull it up. Like, I wish I could just look up a hyphen and then show you how many, but there was a lot of hyphenated words. The actual writing, because of that, was overdone for me personally, but at times also I wanted more from the characters. Like, not more description, more story. However, I did like this take on The Wizard of Oz. I liked that Dorothy was like 24, I want to say. I liked that she was an adult. I liked that everybody was an adult. I liked that it actually delved into a little bit more of The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, like the book, because it does mention some things that weren't like in the movie and things like that, where like one of the places has like porcelain people. They mentioned that. It was very, very small, but it was like little Easter egg type of things like that, where if you know the books versus knowing the movie, you would pick up on that kind of stuff. I don't know all the books, like the whole series of The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, so I do feel like there was potentially other Easter eggs and things and choices the author made that if I would have known the series more, I would have enjoyed more, or at least gotten more, but I liked that I could tell we were going for that. Like, Glinda was the Good Witch of the South, not the Good Witch of the North, like in the movie, because there is a separation. They're different in the book series. Like, I did like that a lot. I also liked the characterization that we got specifically for like Straw. who is the Scarecrow, you know, not having a brain, but like there was nuance to that. Same thing with Nick Chopper being the Tin Man. I just really liked the way that that was. This is technically the first book in a interconnected sort of romance series. So like I know the fourth one of this series is supposed to come out in December. And so I am curious because of the fact that like the characters are very similar to the characters you know and love, but different. So like again, the Cowardly Lion has a little bit more magic to him, a little bit different than just a cowardly lion. I do really enjoy that. I liked the sort of climax, action, and resolution of the story as well. So like I think it was satisfying to read. So it wasn't like necessarily 100% my new favorite or anything, but I do feel like if you can get around some of the way that the story was written, I did enjoy. So 3.5 stars. I would be interested in reading more in the series or something else by this author as well. I'll just hit the camera. So yeah, that is it. We read one whole book and DNF'd a couple. I think that just tells you that like right now maybe there's an oversaturation of Wicked and Wizard of Oz things, and not all of them are going to be for all people. You love the Wicked movie? Mm-hmm. Elliot's seen the first half, and she pretty much sat on my lap and watched most of it on Saturday as well. So yeah, maybe an oversaturation of things. House too. Yeah, and so maybe like an oversaturation. I'm like, I would love more, but obviously the other things that I had read previously, not my thing. And not all of them are obviously new. Tin obviously came out a little while ago, but then like Toto just came out last year. Like it was released around the month that Wicked was released, and I didn't know of it until after I had filmed my last Wicked vlog. So I would be interested in reading more. I know I love Wizard of Oz and Wicked anyway, and so yeah. Hello, girl. That is going to be it from me today. If you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up to let me know she's still hitting my camera. Hi. Subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more videos. I do have videos coming out Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, so I will see you then. Bye.